Hello everyone, Dr. Alan Mandell here. Welcome back to my channel, Science of Healing. If you're over 50, 60, or even 75 and you feel your legs getting weaker, standing up from a chair is harder, climbing stairs feels exhausting, or your balance isn't what it used to be, this message is especially for you. Most people believe muscle loss is just part of aging, that once you hit a certain age, strength is gone for good. That is not true. What's really happening is something called age-related muscle resistance. Your body stops responding efficiently to protein, especially processed protein like whey. And that's why today I want to talk about a simple, inexpensive food that outperforms whey protein for leg strength, mobility, and endurance, especially in older adults. That food is lentils. Now, lentils aren't trendy. They're not sold in flashy tubs, and you won't see fitness influencers promoting them. But from a biological standpoint, lentils may be one of the most powerful leg strength foods on the planet. Let's break down why. Muscle loss is not aging, and this is one of the biggest medical myths ever sold to humanity. What most people call getting old is actually a silent biological shutdown that begins decades before weakness ever shows up. By the time someone notices their legs shaking while standing up or their knees burning after a short walk, the damage has already been happening for years beneath the surface. And here's the shocking truth most doctors never explain. Your muscles are not disappearing because of your age. They're disappearing because they've stopped receiving the right signal to stay alive. After the age of 40, the human body does not suddenly forget how to build muscle. The machinery is still there. The muscle fibers are still present. What changes is communication. Scientists call this anabolic resistance, a condition where muscle cells stop responding properly to protein signals. This resistance worsens every decade, especially in the legs, because leg muscles are the most metabolically demanding tissue in the body. They require oxygen, blood flow, glucose, nerve signaling, and mitochondrial energy just to stay strong. When those systems weaken, the legs are the first to fail. This is why millions of older adults drink protein shakes every day and still grow weaker. Whey protein spikes amino acids in the blood quickly, but aging muscle cells cannot process that sudden signal efficiently. The amino acids flood the bloodstream, insulin spikes, and within a short window the signal is gone. The muscle never gets enough time or support to respond. Studies show that older adults absorb protein just fine, but their muscles fail to activate the pathways that turn protein into strength. The problem is not protein intake. The problem is protein utilization. Here's the part that should alarm you. Research shows that after the age of 60, the body may require up to 40% more protein just to achieve the same muscle response as a younger person. Yet most seniors are told to eat less, move less, and accept weakness as normal. This advice quietly accelerates disability. Loss of leg strength is the #1 predictor of falls. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in adults over 65. And once leg strength is lost, independence disappears rapidly. But muscle cells are not dead. They are dormant. They are waiting for a signal they recognize. Muscle is not built by protein alone. Muscle is built by an environment. Blood flow must deliver oxygen. Insulin sensitivity must allow glucose to enter the cell. Mitochondria must produce energy. Nerves must fire efficiently. Inflammation must be controlled. When any one of these fails, muscle growth shuts down, even if protein intake is high. This is where modern nutrition gets it wrong. Highly processed protein isolates deliver amino acids without the supporting biology muscles depend on, especially in aging bodies. Older muscle cells don't just need building blocks. They need permission. They need sustained signaling. They need metabolic cooperation. They need time. This is why populations that rely on whole foods instead of powders maintain mobility far longer into old age. In regions where legumes are eaten daily, rates of sarcopenia are dramatically lower, not because people consume more protein, but because their muscles receive slow, continuous activation instead of brief chemical spikes. Leg muscles, in particular, rely heavily on insulin sensitivity. When muscles become insulin resistant, glucose cannot enter efficiently, ATP production drops, and muscle fibers begin to shrink. This creates a vicious cycle. Weak muscles move less. Less movement worsens insulin resistance, blood flow decreases, nerves misfire, balance suffers, and eventually standing up becomes an exhausting task. This process is often mistaken for normal aging. It is not normal, it is metabolic neglect. Another overlooked factor is inflammation. Aging bodies often exist in a state of chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging. This inflammatory environment blocks muscle repair signals and accelerates breakdown. Even when protein is present, inflammation prevents muscle cells from responding. This is one reason older adults can eat enough protein and still lose strength. Now consider this. Muscle tissue is the largest organ for glucose disposal in the body. When leg muscles weaken, blood sugar control worsens. Higher blood sugar increases inflammation. Inflammation further damages muscle. This loop quietly drives frailty, but the loop can be broken. Muscle cells retain memory. They remember strength. They remember movement. Research shows that even decades after muscle loss, the cellular machinery required for growth can be reactivated. This means it is never too late, but the signal must be correct. Slow, sustained nutritional signaling works better than aggressive dosing in aging bodies. Continuous amino acid availability paired with fiber, minerals, and polyphenols creates an environment muscles can respond to. Instead of overwhelming the system, it gently reminds the muscle that it is still needed. This is why strength returns gradually when the right foods are used consistently. People notice standing becomes easier, walking becomes smoother, knees feel more stable, balance improves. These are not miracles. These are biological responses. The body was designed to survive. It was not designed to consume isolated powders and synthetic shortcuts. Muscles evolved alongside whole foods that deliver not just protein, but the signals that tell cells how to use it. And here is the most hopeful truth of all. Muscle loss is reversible far longer than people think. Even in the 70s and 80s, studies show that muscle protein synthesis can be restored when metabolic health improves. Strength does not vanish because of birthdays. It vanishes because the signal disappears. When the signal returns, so does strength. The tragedy is not aging. The tragedy is believing weakness is inevitable. Your legs are not old. They are understimulated. And once the body receives the right message again, it responds quietly, steadily, and powerfully, just like it always has. Your legs do not weaken quietly. They weaken in stages, and every stage leaves clues that most people ignore. The first sign is not pain, it's fatigue, a heaviness in the thighs after short walks, a subtle drag when lifting your feet, a hesitation before climbing stairs. These are not signs of aging. They are signs that blood, sugar, and nerve signals are no longer reaching your leg muscles the way they once did. Leg strength is not just about muscle size. It is about delivery. Oxygen delivery, glucose delivery, electrical delivery from nerves to muscle fibers. When any one of these systems fails, strength collapses from the inside out, and this is why so many people lose leg power even while their arms remain relatively strong. The legs are metabolic engines. They demand constant fuel and flawless communication. Let's start with blood flow. Every muscle contraction requires oxygen. Without oxygen, muscle fibers fatigue, weaken, and eventually shrink. As we age, blood vessels naturally stiffen. Nitric oxide production declines. Arteries lose their ability to expand. This reduces circulation to the legs first because they are farthest from the heart and work the hardest. Poor circulation doesn't just make your legs tired, it starves them. Studies show that reduced blood flow directly accelerates muscle atrophy, especially in the quadriceps and calves. This is why people with vascular disease lose mobility rapidly. And here's the shocking part. Many older adults without diagnosed vascular disease still have impaired leg blood flow due to diet-induced endothelial dysfunction. This is where lentils change the equation. Lentils are rich in polyphenols and natural nitrates that support nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and widen. When vessels widen, more oxygen reaches muscle tissue. More oxygen means stronger contractions and slower fatigue. This is not theoretical. Research consistently shows legume consumption improves endothelial function and peripheral circulation, even in older adults. Now let's talk about insulin sensitivity, the silent destroyer of leg strength. Your leg muscles are the largest glucose sink in your body. They rely on glucose to produce ATP, the energy currency of muscle contraction. When muscles become insulin resistant, glucose cannot enter efficiently. Energy production drops, muscle fibers weaken, recovery slows. Over time, muscle mass declines. This is why diabetes and prediabetes are so strongly associated with frailty. But here's what most people don't realize. You don't need diabetes to have insulin-resistant leg muscles. Sedentary behavior, processed foods, and chronic inflammation can impair glucose uptake long before blood sugar numbers look abnormal. Whey protein does nothing to fix this. Lentils do. Lentils have a low glycemic load and extremely high fiber content. This combination slows digestion, stabilizes blood sugar, and improves insulin signaling inside muscle cells. Studies show that legumes increase GLUT4 transporter activity, the very mechanism muscles use to pull glucose from the blood. More glucose inside the muscle means more energy, more endurance, and better strength output. This is why people who eat lentils regularly report that walking feels easier and legs feel steadier. The muscle finally has fuel again. Now comes the most overlooked factor of all, nerve function. Muscle does not move on its own. Every contraction begins with a nerve impulse. That impulse must travel from the brain, down the spinal cord, through peripheral nerves, and into muscle fibers. Aging slows this process. Inflammation damages nerves. Blood sugar spikes degrade nerve insulation. Poor circulation starves nerves of oxygen. When nerve signaling weakens, muscles don't fire fully. Strength drops even if muscle mass is still present. Balance worsens. Reaction time slows. This is one of the main reasons falls occur. Lentils support nerve health in 3 critical ways. First, they provide B vitamins, especially folate and B6, which are essential for nerve repair and neurotransmitter synthesis. Second, their magnesium content improves nerve conduction and reduces involuntary muscle fatigue. Third, lentils feed beneficial gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, which reduce neuroinflammation and protect nerve integrity. This gut-muscle-nerve connection is real and powerful. Research now shows that gut health directly affects muscle coordination and strength. Inflammation in the gut leads to inflammation in nerves. Lentils calm that inflammation at its source. Now connect all of this together. Better blood flow delivers oxygen. Better insulin sensitivity delivers energy. Better nerve signaling delivers control. This is why lentils don't just build muscle, they restore function. This is also why strength gained from lentils feels different than strength gained from supplements. It's not explosive, it's stable. Movements feel smoother, standing feels safer, walking feels confident. That's real strength. Here's another shocking fact. Populations that eat legumes daily have significantly lower rates of falls and mobility-related disability, even when total protein intake is modest. Their legs are not larger. They are better supported metabolically. Contrast this with societies that rely heavily on processed protein and refined carbohydrates. Muscle mass may look adequate early on, but insulin resistance, vascular damage, and nerve decline erode function over time. Strength without circulation is useless. Protein without glucose uptake is wasted. Muscle without nerve control is dangerous. Lentils address all three. And this is why older adults who switch to lentils often notice unexpected improvements: warmer feet, less leg cramping at night, reduced knee fatigue, improved balance. These are circulation and nerve signs, not placebo. The body is incredibly responsive when its systems are supported together instead of attacked separately. Leg strength is not a single switch, it is a network. Blood, sugar, nerves. Fix the network and strength follows. Ignore the network and no amount of protein will save you. This is why lentils are not just food for muscles. They are food for movement, food for balance, food for independence. And when the legs receive oxygen, energy, and clear signals again, they do what they were designed to do: carry you forward steadily, confidently, and without fear, no matter your age. Strength does not disappear overnight. It fades quietly through missed signals, skipped meals, and movements we stop trusting ourselves to do. One day you avoid stairs. One day you grab the chair before standing. One day you tell yourself it's normal, but the body is always listening. And when movement stops, the message it receives is clear: this muscle is no longer needed. What most people don't realize is that muscle loss accelerates not because we age, but because consistency disappears. The human body is designed to adapt daily, not weekly, not occasionally, daily. And this is why small, repeated signals are far more powerful than intense efforts done rarely. This principle becomes critical after the age of 60. Research shows that older muscles respond best to low-load, frequent stimulation paired with steady nutrition. Heavy workouts are not required. In fact, they often backfire by increasing inflammation and fear of movement. What works is repetition. What works is safety. What works is sending the body a calm, reliable message every single day that strength is still required. This is where lentils and light movement form a powerful biological partnership. When you eat lentils consistently, your body receives slow-release amino acids, stable glucose, and anti-inflammatory compounds over several hours. This creates a metabolic environment where muscle repair can occur without stress. But nutrition alone is not enough. Muscles must be invited to respond. That invitation can be as simple as standing up from a chair 10 times, as gentle as walking for 15 minutes, as basic as holding onto a counter and performing slow squats. These movements may look insignificant, but biologically, they are profound. Studies show that muscle protein synthesis in older adults increases dramatically when even light resistance is paired with nutrition within a short window. This window can last up to 2 hours after movement. During this time, muscle cells become more receptive to amino acids and glucose. They open their doors again. This is why timing matters. Eating lentils after movement, not before bed, not randomly, sends a synchronized signal. Movement says, this muscle is needed. Nutrition says, here is what you need to rebuild. Together, they reverse the message of decline. Here is a shocking truth backed by research. Seniors who perform light resistance exercises just 3 to 4 times per week can regain significant leg strength even in their 80s. Not maintain. Regain. Muscle fibers do not vanish with age. They shrink, and shrunken fibers can grow again when properly stimulated. Consistency is what unlocks this. One serving of lentils will not change your legs. One walk will not restore balance. But daily signals reshape biology. The body tracks patterns, not intentions. And here's something even more important. Consistent lentil intake improves recovery. Older adults recover more slowly from muscle stress because inflammation lingers longer. Lentils contain compounds that reduce inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein. Lower inflammation allows muscles to repair instead of breaking down further. This is why people who eat lentils daily often notice they feel less sore, less stiff, and more willing to move the next day. Recovery fuels consistency. Consistency fuels strength. Now consider the psychological component, which science increasingly recognizes as physical. Fear of falling causes muscle loss. When people fear falling, they move less. When they move less, muscles weaken. When muscles weaken, balance worsens. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle that accelerates frailty faster than aging itself. Daily movement breaks that fear cycle. Each successful stand, each steady step, each controlled squat rebuilds confidence. Confidence changes posture. Posture changes gait. Gait changes muscle activation. This is not motivational talk. This is neuromuscular science. And nutrition supports this confidence at the cellular level. Magnesium from lentils improves muscle relaxation and reduces cramping. Potassium supports proper muscle contraction. Iron supports oxygen delivery. Folate supports nerve repair. These are not bonus nutrients. They are foundational. Another shocking fact: protein absorption does not decline significantly with age. Utilization does. And utilization improves when muscles are regularly activated. This means that even modest protein from lentils becomes powerful when paired with movement. You do not need perfection. You need rhythm. Half a cup to 1 cup of lentils most days. 10 to 20 minutes of leg-focused movement most days. That's it. And here's what happens over time. After 2 weeks, standing feels smoother. After 4 weeks, walking feels steadier. After 8 weeks, confidence returns. After 3 months, people often report doing things they had quietly given up. Gardening, shopping without fear, climbing stairs without stopping. This is not because they became athletes. It's because their body remembered how to be strong. Research shows that muscle cells retain epigenetic memory of past strength. Once activated again, they respond faster than expected. This is why strength returns quicker than it was lost, if the signal is consistent. The tragedy is not that people lose strength. The tragedy is that they stop sending the signal before strength has a chance to return. Daily lentils are not just food. Daily movement is not just exercise. Together they are communication. They tell your body you are still using it, still moving forward, still demanding support. Aging does not steal independence overnight. Inconsistency does. And the most hopeful truth of all is this: the body does not need extreme change to heal. It needs repetition. It needs safety. It needs trust. When you nourish your muscles every day and ask them to work gently every day, they answer quietly, reliably, powerfully. Strength is not something you chase. It is something you remind your body to keep. And when you do, even at 75 or 85, the legs respond, not with force, but with confidence, carrying you forward one steady step at a time.